not push? Mo?
We need a airline pilot's checklist in here.
Mm-hmm.
Flaps.
Yep.
Fuel.
We would be dangerous pilots.
Did we forget something?
Yeah.
Let the cargo door open.
Yeah.
Red for record. Jesse's guys. Take 2.
Welcome back to the podcast. On today's episode, gratitude. That attitude of gratitude that you got or need is going to change your life in amazing ways. Let's hear it again. How you doing, Doc?
I am so thankful we get to do this a second time.
Yes, indeed.
I have a positive attitude of gratitude.
We're so blessed to have had a complete run through that nobody gets to hear. And I have to say, there was some serious words of wisdom coming out from your microphone, and I'm glad we get to capture it this time with a red record button.
Red for recording.
So gratitude.
Yes.
Gratitude. I believe wholeheartedly that this changes the world.
Well, it will definitely make our second run at this so much better.
Won't it, though?
I am thankful for a second opportunity.
Man, I'm very thankful.
But yes, gratitude can change the world. And speaking of the world, quick rundown on our listener and viewership.
Sweet.
On the podcast. No, not talking about YouTube. YouTube's just exploding. But on the podcast, we are all over the world. We are in the U.S., obviously.
Right.
Second, UK.
Yeah.
UK. Where they have Father Brown. And we are in Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Where they got the Murdoch Mysteries and Tim Star.
And
Tim. Tim
Hortons.
Tim Hortons.
Equally as important.
And New Zealand, where my life is murder.
See,
yes, I watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, you do watch a lot of interesting TV.
Foreign TV.
All the foreign stuff.
In the U.S., Kansas is obviously our number one state for listeners.
Yep.
Guess who number 2 and 3 are?
Tell me.
Number 2 is Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Kansas City, Missouri.
Show me.
Followed closely by, and this is like a golf board standing.
Okay.
Where you see the golfers up there and they got all their names on there and they're under par. Oklahoma, California, Illinois, and Virginia are all vying for number 3. Every day, I take a quick look. Every day, those numbers change. One day, it's Virginia's number 1. The next day, it's California. Then it's back to Oklahoma. The number of listeners in that number 3 spot, that state is constantly changing. New York. California. Sounded like the song, didn't it?
Californication. Yeah.
That's a TV show.
Californication?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting. I was just going Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh.
California.
So I am very thankful for our audience because we make no money. So the only benefit, the only positive vibe we get is a positive vibe from seeing the viewership and the listenership grow. So thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate that.
Yeah. And you mentioned YouTube.
Yeah.
It's steadily growing in subscribers, which is awesome to see. That's the real, like if we get hit with dopamine out of this whole thing, that's where it's coming from, is the fact that people are continuing to share this. They're continuing to be benefited by this. That's all we want to do. We just want to share some thoughts that will hopefully help people.
Now, I know the podcast audience is different than the YouTube audience. Podcast people tend to drive around in their truck, listen, do work, listen, clean the house, listen.
Yep.
But if you are on the podcast and you've been enjoying any of the show, if there's a particular show that you liked, I want you to know that on the YouTube version, because you can watch it then we have the opportunity to add some visual effects, some different tricky tricks to the YouTube version to make the information that we're talking about here more useful to you with that video element. So, just because you've heard it on the podcast, that doesn't mean, well, I don't need to watch it on the YouTube because I already heard that. On the YouTube, we're going to add stuff in because we have that opportunity to.
Yeah. So at the end of this episode, if you feel like it has been any benefit to you, like and share.
Share.
And hopefully it can help somebody else. That's the only reason we do this.
Yes.
We get up early on Tuesday morning. We come in here. We record it once, sometimes twice. When we don't hit a button.
Yeah.
And
here
we go, number 2.
Thankful for this opportunity.
Very, very thankful. So here's the interesting part about this. We're not just simply talking today about the attitude of gratitude, but the change that the attitude can actually have on your entire being.
This is not just about feel good.
Yeah, exactly. This is how this can literally change your life.
Physically.
Literally by physically changing your life.
Physiologically.
Mentally changing your life.
Neurologically.
Absolutely. So what I've got here that
spirituality.
that I found was
ecumenical.
Gratitude. Gratitude can change brain function.
Yes.
Brain function in several ways, and so just help us to understand this a little bit, Doc. Neurotransmitter release. Here's what it says. It says, when you feel gratitude, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, which are neurotransmitters that contribute to feelings of happiness and pleasure.
In the brain, the mood centers, the neurotransmitters that are most active in those are the serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. And we theorize that these three in certain quantities make us feel happy. Mm-hmm. Dopamine being the primary one. And research has shown that when we get a compliment, we get a small boost of dopamine in our brain. The dopamine, the neurotransmitters being released, makes me feel good. Evidence, when I have a happy meal, my dopamine levels go up 150%. When I do cocaine, there's a reason people do cocaine. Why does it make you feel good? Because it gives you a 300% boost of dopamine in the brain. That's why people are using cocaine and are addicted to cocaine. And the king of them all, meth, gives us a 1,200% boost in dopamine. Now, there are all sorts of physiological complications and death traps that follow using these drugs. Don't do them. Hey, doc said it gives me more dopamine. I want to go do it. The idea here is that people are chasing happiness through these mechanisms that are detrimental for your brain and your life. When you have access to creating more dopamine for yourself every single day by simply adopting an attitude of gratitude, that boosts your dopamine in your brain. That's what the research is showing.
Wow. So I just want to full exposure here. I want to just put this out there that I am currently on meth. But it's methotrexate.
No.
It's an RA drug. But so what you're telling us
rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah. What you're telling us is that we can become dopamine dealers.
Yes.
Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about changing the world. This is what we're talking about here. We're talking about an attitude of gratitude that literally changes the world. And you change the world one person at a time, one compliment at a time.
Yes.
So what you said was whenever we dole out a compliment, the simple act of taking a moment to compliment somebody on something, it gives them a shot of dopamine and you.
And you. That's
Yes.
what we were talking about last week, is that when I compliment somebody else, they get a shot of dopamine if they appreciate the compliment.
Right.
But you get one. I get one for giving the compliment. You ever seen a grandma give a Christmas gift to a child? Mm-hmm. The child's over there playing with the box. not playing with the gift.
Right.
But what's grandma doing? She's sitting there just smiling, warm, happy, radiant. She's getting tons of dopamine because she gave a gift to somebody else. You can boost your own dopamine.
I love it. So neurotransmitter release is one way that gratitude changes our brain function. The second one is stress reduction. Rose, what's the number one reason people go to the doctor?
Stress.
Stress-related
Psychosocial stress.
Yes, issues. And this says gratitude can help regulate cortisol production, which can reduce stress and anxiety.
Yes. Stress and anxiety wear the body out. The heart rate runs faster. The blood pressure goes up. The cortisol is released. We retain fat. We get fat. Everything starts to function poorly over a long period of time when we're stressed and anxious all the time. When you have an attitude of gratitude, you turn that off.
Yep.
So you stop. You take the emergency brake off the car. For all the rednecks out there who don't understand what the hell I'm talking about. When you're stressed, it's like driving with the emergency brake on. What's that smoke? What's that smell? That's your brain. You're burning up the brake. Boy, I don't know where that came from. That was the Holy Spirit. Somebody out there just pulled his truck over and let the emergency brake off.
Yep.
But you also, in turn, start the positive physiological effects starting to occur. The improved heart rate, the reduction in cortisol, your body functions better, your metabolism improves, your energy levels go up. You sleep better at night with a positive attitude of gratitude. So you can improve your physical health. And, we've talked about Dr. Amen with his studies showing literal neurological changes in the brain function when we start thinking positively.
Yeah.
Attitude of gratitude.
Yeah. So at the end of this, we're going to give you a little exercise on 2 ways to make this happen.
Yes.
Putting this into action.
Get your pen out.
And this is an all skate.
Get your pen and paper.
You can do this. You're not excluded from this. Everybody can see their lives improve.
Even those in the UK?
Absolutely.
What about those in Cambodia? Can they do this?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100. So the third, well, first we had neurotransmitter release. Second, we have stress reduction. The third one, this is amazing. So people keep, boy, my brain just doesn't seem to function like it used to. I need to get my brain activated. So it says brain activation. Gratitude activates the anterior cingulate cortex and medial prefrontal cortex, which are associated with social and moral cognition, empathy, reward, and value judgment.
Yeah, the frontal cortex is lined right up with the midbrain, where all the emotions are, the brain parts you just mentioned. And as you think, you're sending information into the midbrain for what emotions to feel. Those emotions turn right around and feed back into the frontal cortex. And so you can start a chain reaction going. When you start thinking positively, you'll feel positive. As you feel positive, you'll start thinking positively more. And that it can be a cascade effect that just starts to flow. Much like you all know, thinking negatively cascades into more negative thinking.
Yeah.
You can do the exact opposite. And that's what this is telling you.
That's why we say, think about what you're thinking about.
Yes.
So this whole, neurotransmitter release, stress reduction, brain activation, and then this one is so incredible. Brain plasticity. So the brain's ability to form new neural connections throughout life is called neuroplasticity. The more you practice gratitude, the easier it becomes to stimulate the gratitude circuits in your brain, and the stronger those pathways become. All right. So break this down.
Redneck ease.
Yep.
The pathways. Think pathways through your grass.
Yeah.
Heading out to the trash can or the mailbox. You walk that same route across your grass every day. You lay down a path.
Yep.
In your beautiful grass, you got this rut laid down. And if you want to get rid of that rut, you simply walk a new path in the grass.
Right.
But the old path doesn't just disappear overnight because you took a new path one day. You have to repeatedly walk the new path through the grass for the old path to start to grow over and the new path start to be laid down. And that is exactly what's happening in our brain. we go on autopilot so much because these neural pathways are ingrained and laid down. And so when you activate the beginning of a pathway, you're also activating the end of a pathway. And so that's why when you jump in your truck to drive home, you're activating the part of your brain for the first part of the trip, but you're also activating the part of the brain for the end of the trip.
Sure.
So the whole thing comes alive. You drive without thinking because all these pathways are laid down for autopilot.
Yep.
And you get home and you wondered how the hell you got there.
Well, and that's exactly why if you were supposed to stop at the store and get milk, you end up thinking about that when you get to your driveway.
Yes.
When you get to the end of the path.
The end of the path.
Because that path has been set.
And so if you're complaining and being negative and thinking negative, and you will get through all of that before you get to the, well, maybe I should have been thankful for. But if you start the new pathway, if you do the exercises we got for you here in a minute, if you start that new pathway, first couple of weeks can be a bit of a struggle, but as you do it, the old pathway starts to fade away, the new pathway starts to lay down. And just like in grass, that's what's happening neurologically because of our brain's neuroplasticity. We can lay down a new pathway in our brain.
So 2 huge additional benefits to this is that it will literally change your mood. And then that in turn will change all of this, will change your relationships. I hear people all the time talk about how they just wish their relationships were better, or their relationship with their spouse, something, very specific. I just wish, right? And what they're doing is they're thinking to themselves, and this will improve when they change. And the reality is that's the most foolish approach we could ever take, because we don't control them. You don't control them. You control you. I control me. And so work on what you can control.
And that brings so much freedom. Once you believe that, once you understand and accept, I can't control people around me.
Yeah.
That frees me to focus all of my energy on myself.
Yeah.
And so just like when I step outside and it's raining, I note the rain, but then I start thinking, should I grab an umbrella? Do I just run to the car? I don't give any energy whatsoever to stopping the rain. So when I step into a room and somebody's in a foul mood, I note it, but my brain instantly starts going to, how am I going to take care of myself? What kind of day am I going to have?
Yep.
I control me. I don't control the other person.
So speaking of controlling what you can control, what are 2 ways that this can be applied?
2 simple exercises to get this to be your new pattern of thinking.
Yep, new path.
One is keep a log.
That's perfect.
Every single day, stop at some point during the day and write down 3 things you are thankful for. An attitude of gratitude doesn't just pop up overnight. You have to think about the things that have gone well. I remember years ago in a group, a book study I was in, that was one of the exercises was be thankful and write down, 10 things you're thankful for, something. That was the chapter's exercise. And one of the students in the class shared that they sat down, they started writing that list, and it was kind of hard at first, but as they started thinking more about the things that they can be grateful for, they kind of got on a roll. And what even came to their mind while they were writing this is they were thankful for the ballpoint pen, this modern marvel of modern technology that the ink just appears on the paper as I move it, the ball, the tip, the ink, everything. I don't have to think about it. This is great. This is an awesome thing. So if you want to change your automatic attitude, then you intentionally every single day sit down and write a list, at least 3 things that you can be thankful for, are thankful for. Do it for 21 days. See at the end of 21 days if you don't feel any better, if you don't find yourself walking into situations with a different attitude. One tip, just write down 3 things a day that you are thankful for 21 days.
Yep.
Second tip, once a day. And if you got to set a reminder on your phone or an alarm or something, do this once a day. Walk up to somebody and thank them for something. There is something to be thankful for in all your relationships, whether it's at work or in the grocery store or at home, but have that radar up, have that thought process going that I'm going to find somebody today to thank, to tell them I appreciate something.
Yeah.
Look for that opportunity every single day, 21 days, every single day.
It could be something as simple as, you know what? Can I just tell you that I'm thankful that you are smiling? That smile that you got going there, it just made me feel good. And by the way, smiling is a difference maker.
Yes, it is.
Smiling changes the world. One of my favorite authors is a guy named Andy Andrews, an amazing author. He writes about a lot of this stuff, but he wrote The Noticer, and he wrote Traveler's Gift or Traveler's Guide. He's just a tremendous author. And one of the things that he says, because he's a real prolific speaker as well, he says something that you can do to change your world and the world of the people around you is simply this: smile. He says, smile. He says, try it out. Walk into a room with a smile on your face and see if people are drawn to you or away from you. Do the opposite. Walk in there with a Grinch look on your face. People are not going to, they're going to wish that you would just turn around and walk right back out. Mm-hmm. Smile. It can be so simple. It can start with the little things. The little thank yous, by the way. We think it has to be huge. No, those little things are those one step at a time. That's what changes the path. That's what makes the world a different place.
Every day.
Right. Thank you, Doc.
Take captive every thought.
It is good stuff. Let your world change with an attitude of gratitude.
Thank you guys for tuning in today.
Go get it.
Just these guys, we will catch you next week.
Have an awesome week. Thank you.
And we will catch you guys next week.
Have an awesome week.